Superman from the 90s returns to Supergirl.
Arrow is all about politics, Prometheus, and balls, and we're going to talk about all that and more as we review all the CW DC TV shows. Hi guys, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
Welcome to DCTV Recap, the YouTube show where we recap all the CW DCTV shows, so in case you didn't want to watch them, you don't have to watch them, but you want to watch them because they're good, okay? But we're going to give us our thoughts, some goods, some bads, and if you want to skip ahead to your favorite show, go right down to the description, click on the little time code in there. All right, we're going to, not many DC TV shows this week.
No, only three?
Three-ish, okay. So let's jump right into Supergirl.
Supergirl Season 2, Episode 14, Homecoming. When Jeremiah Danvers is rescued from Cadmus, Alex and Kara are thrilled to have him back, but Manel is suspicious about his sudden return.
All right, let's get off with the good before we go to the bad and the ratings and the prediction. First off, Ashley, what did you like in this episode? What was good?
Good was seeing the family dynamic because the Danverses and associated people, because Supergirl really shines and it has, I think, some of the strongest familial relationships that we've seen on DCTV in the classic nuclear family sense.
It probably is the most complete or nuclear-ish family that we have in this universe.
And seeing them get to be domestic was strangely nice. And I also think it was Dean Cain's best acting moments was when he was being weird dad guy.
All right.
So I really enjoyed those scenes.
I really like the action scene that kind of opened up the episode where Supergirl and Martian Manhunter took off on this convoy. And we got this really cool moment, I thought, where Supergirl landed on the back of the semi-truck and pushed the trailer off of the semi-truck. And then Martian Manhunter got inside. I thought that was really neat. Martian Manhunter phasing around, stuff like that.
We got a lot of good Martian Manhunter stuff this episode.
Yeah, we did. And then also, I like when we get to see Dean Cain on the show. Now, we'll talk more about Dean Cain, I think, in a further section, but, as a child of the 90s and as a fan of Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman, Dean Cain was one of my first Supermen. So anytime I get to see him, it's exciting. He was, in the 90s, it's all we had. Yeah. Lois and Clark. So I always like seeing that. And I like in this, especially since Dean Cain is a 90s Superman, I like that we get the reveal that we find out that Dean Cain is the one who built the cyborg Superman.
Yes, that is very true. Now, I want to ask, were you suspicious of Jeremiah Danvers when he first arrived in this episode? Or were you just like,
No.
I guess this is what's happening now?
No. I was not suspicious of Jeremiah until later. Until later, actually. But I also appreciated that in Dean Cain, in one of his very early scenes, he was talking to Martian Manhunter, and Martian Manhunter was like, Dean Cain said that, it's strange to see you look like Hank, this guy who I hate.
Yes, and then Martian Manhunter says something like, I hope I've done some good with this face.
Yeah, it brought some goodness to it.
Yeah.
What else did you like from this episode?
I liked all the Martian Manhunter stuff, like I alluded to earlier, and there is a fight scene later on between Dean Cain where he gets to do some really superhero moves, like he has Wynn up against the ceiling, and you see him fighting Martian Manhunter, and one, I don't know if Jean has ever looked that good animated. He looked so good, and the choreography is really cool. You can tell that it's at least Dean Cain. It's probably David Harewood wearing dots on his face.
Yeah.
But the choreography is really good, and it's nice to see him doing a lot more phasing and seeing what makes Martian Manhunter a force to be reckoned with.
Unique.
Yes, because sometimes you have to bench him because he's really powerful, and that's kind of a bummer.
And sometimes he's just green Superman.
I'm fine with that. We can have green Superman.
Let's just put a moratorium. Anything Martian Manhunter is automatically in the good.
Okay. What am I going to talk about?
I really liked the moment where Helen Slater walked in the DEO and met Dean Cain. They hugged and they kissed. And later on in the scene, they had a scene at Kara's apartment, and he said, "Look at my girls." I like all these shows. I like all these shows when they give these Easter eggs, and it's really nice. Helen Slater and Dean Cain, even though Helen Slater was a Supergirl from the Supergirl movie, I really like that we have this nice little Superman family that reunites on this show. It was a really great moment, and it really creates a legacy for Supergirl.
Yes. In the same way that Flash has.
Yes, for a show that's only been around for 2 years. You feel like there's more to this. It automatically makes the universe feel bigger.
Andrew Kreisberg has confirmed that when Terry Hatcher shows up on this show, she's going to have scenes with Dean Cain.
I know! And it's amazing! Don't ever watch Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, but think of it fondly. What else did you like from this episode?
I also liked in the same scene where they have the scene in Kara's apartment when Alex introduces Maggie to her dad. You can tell she's really nervous about it. It's nice to see that Eliza has accepted them, and she's just like, "Oh, it's nice to see you, sweetie." Blah blah blah.
And what's the dad's name? What's Dean Kane's name? Jeremiah. They have weird names.
They do have weird names. That's their comic book names. Jeremiah just accepts it in stride. He's really nice about it. Mm-hmm. And then the tequila joke that he makes, because she brings tequila instead of wine, is such a dad joke. Yeah. I think he was really, I just want to see him be a dad. I don't want to see him do anything else, because he's such a great dad in this episode.
I'm going to bring up a right in this episode, or good in this episode that I think a lot of our common viewers will be surprised. Mon-El was right to question Jeremiah. And you know what? To be honest with you, Mon-El was the one that convinced me. Mm-hmm. Because all of his points actually were valid and logical, where he was like, hey, I've been doing this for 3 months. How come this guy gets to walk right in the door? And he is very correct. They do let Dean Cain just stroll into the DEO after being missing for 14 years.
Also, they're inconsistent.
18 years, 14 years,
First he says 14 and a half, then they say 15 and a half, then they say 15. So it is...
I didn't even notice
Mon-El
that.
actually says it differently twice in the same scene talking to Win. So they're wildly inconsistent with how long he's been missing, but about 15 years.
But no matter what, Mon-El actually, in that line of thought, was valid.
I actually think this has been Mon-El's best episode.
Don't go that far.
No, I believe that.
I have some more bad
I think this has been his best episode. I hate the stuff on him with Kara, but that's par for the course for me. Making him the voice of reason was definitely a step in the right direction, although I get how that's tough for an alien character. But if we could harness some of what was going on in this episode, he might become an interesting character.
We also got to talk about another little part. You mentioned a little bit earlier. We get to see Dean Cain with superpowers fighting Martian Manhunter.
He does a good job, too.
And for most of the fight, it's him.
Yes.
Although it's a lot of grappling. It's like, onto this server, onto this server.
It's very judo-inspired,
yes.
I would say. That's okay, though.
But giving him Superman powers was really cool.
Yeah.
And, oh, man, like, the entire fight, I was like, somehow give him a red cape. I don't know how you do this. Give him a red cape. Just please.
That might be still coming.
Oh, man.
There's a few episodes left.
Oh, man. And then Terry Hatcher shows up, and then Terry Hatcher somehow gets naked, and he wraps her in the red cape, and you're all out there probably being like, what the hell are you talking about? It's a very famous trailer and print ad for Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, a TV show that I'm still recommending you do not watch.
No, what'll happen is he'll go down into a crater, and he'll come up out of it, and he'll be carrying her.
It wrapped in the cape.
Yeah.
Go Google that ad. Google Lois and Clark, Terry Hatcher wrapped in a cape, and you'll be like, oh, I know exactly what I'm talking about.
You didn't know you were going to get this many Lois and Clark Easter eggs in this review.
Still, I do not recommend watching that show. Don't do it. I've tried. Doesn't hold up well.
Aww.
You didn't expect this to become the Lois and Clark New Adventures of Superman recap.
But here we are.
Win gets another great moment in this episode.
The Win and Mon-El scene is really nice.
Also, Win being smart enough to hide a tracker on Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really nice. So, of course, it's very convenient that Dean Cain and Cadmus and Cyborg Superman get away. But I love how they do that. Blowing up the train and Kara having to fix it.
So great. Such a super thing to do.
Well, one, it's a thing that happens in Superman the movie. Mm-hmm. But two, it's also a thing that's happened multiple times in the comic books. So even though it's a little silly and contrived, I loved it.
Oh, I didn't care.
It was straight pulled out of the comic books. So that's why I really
I also think I really like the moment. Alex is kind of wildly irrational in this episode, and we'll talk more about that in the bad. But Dean Cain gives her the choice to shoot him, and she doesn't do it. And I thought that moment was a great moment for her because she shouldn't shoot her dad. No. She shouldn't. It was a really nice moment.
I actually had that as my next note. My next note, Alex deciding not to kill dad. Good idea.
Yeah.
I liked at the end that we found out that Cadmus took the National Alien Registry. I think that's a smart idea. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a really neat idea that there's a list of all the aliens on Earth. Okay, and then there's a really weird, space ark that we see in this giant warehouse. What do we think that is?
I think that is going to be something that Cadmus is going to try to put, undesirable aliens on and just get rid of them.
See, I think it's the flip side.
I think it's like I think they have access to the Phantom Zone and they're trying to like.
Oh, no. I think it's the flip side. I think Cadmus is going to burn the Earth to cleanse it, and that's the ship that they survive on.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So you think it's literally an arc?
Yes, I think it's a true arc. I really do, or something like that. Like they're gonna be like, we're gonna like vaporize the Earth because anybody that's talked to an alien's wrong, and we'll be safe on the ship. Who knows? Could be anything. Yeah. We don't know. Let's move into the bad. All right, the episode starts off with probably one of the most horrendous scenes I've ever seen on Supergirl. The morning after scene, as I'm going to call it.
Never, ever do a morning after scene. They're dumb. They're terrible. Don't do them. You can do better than that. Don't do morning after scenes.
You know, a series that I believe never had a morning after scene. Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. I still recommend you don't watch that show. All right.
It's such a not very good scene.
Well, it's so hard to unpack that scene because there were just so many bad choices in that scene.
Yeah.
Just badly written, badly acted, completely terrible. And then Kara's like, don't tell people. And then we hard cut to Mon-El being like, hey guys. Subtext of what he was saying, I boned Supergirl.
Yes. That aside, because that is such an incredibly just mean and rude treatment of your leading character.
Yeah.
This episode also proves that the only thing that Kara and Mon-El can do together where they agree is sleep together.
Yeah.
They fight about everything else, and sometimes Kara's in the wrong, mostly Mon-El is in the wrong. They suck at being together, but we have to just keep forcing their faces together because we decided they're going to date this season.
Well, a lot of people, I will say that down in the comments, a lot of people, you guys have been giving us, like, you say that we've been hating on Mon-El. And the only reason why we've been hating on Mon-El, and this episode to me gave me the bullet and the gun that I can now fire, this episode proves that Mon-El's an asshole.
He's a misogynist.
He is
There's nothing redeeming about him.
He's a complete asshole.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you're a man, a woman, an alien, a robot. If somebody's like, hey, I got this thing over here. Don't tell people about this thing. And then the very next thing you do is like, hey, people, she's got the thing. You're an asshole.
It's not cute. And they're trying to sell it as cute.
No,
and
it's not.
It's disrespectful.
He's terrible.
He's
a terrible person. And it hurts me more and more just for the fact because, like, I like Mon-El in the comic books.
I was going to add that one of the reasons that we're so hard on this character is he's a great character in the comics. Yeah. And you could have just done that.
Yeah, he's one of the leaders of the leading superhero. All right, so let's move on from Mon-El because otherwise the comments will all be about
Okay, then
Mon-El.
I'll bring up Alex, who is generally one of my favorite parts of this new season of Supergirl.
And she's been great this season.
She has, and I think Kyler Lee does a good job at playing the ridiculous emotions that they're giving her. This smacks to me of somebody who sat down to write her and was like, "This is how an irrational woman would act."
No, I don't think I wouldn't paint it in that direction. Go ahead.
I would just, and I don't mean to state that was their intention, but every time we need a hard emotional turn in order to flip the momentum of the story or where the attention is, it's on Alex, who is not an outwardly emotional character. That's normally who Kara is. And on top of that, she treats characters who she's mostly treated with respect, with derision, and it's so out of character that it comes off like it's bad and like you're speaking down to this character that you're writing.
I can explain what you're talking about. So I agree with you. It is Alex acts very out of character in this episode. Yeah. I will give her a pass because Dad is around, and who knows how any of us would react if our dad came back from being 14 years. Who knows? I think we would all not act like ourselves. What that was with Alex was something that we actually see a lot more in The Flash, where they make characters act out of character to create conflict.
Right, like Cisco has been.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. So Alex's role in this episode was basically the writers were like, we need to create conflict with Supergirl. Who can we do that with? Oh, Alex.
Yeah.
So she got pigeonholed into that. She was the round peg into that square hole, and there you go.
Alex, who's been her staunchest ally this entire time.
Alex, who's had a great season so far. Yeah. This might be her worst episode.
I would say so. I mean, she has a couple good scenes, but I don't think it's enough to save the entire episode.
Yeah. My last thing is that so after Dean Cain fights Martian Manhunter in the server room, He picks up the M16 and he just shoots the monitors of the computers. Dean Cain, this message to you.
I know you're watching.
Yeah, we know you're watching. You may have not known anything about computer skills since 1996 when Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, was on the air. You have to shoot the servers. The big giant things that you were like grappling into for like 10 minutes. That's where the information is, not the screen. But all he shot was the screens.
It's more cinematic.
Doesn't work, Dean Cain. Okay, I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming the writers. Doesn't work. All right. Any other bads? And let's move into the rating.
I think that's it. I think we move right on to rating.
Let's move into the rating on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 being the best, 1 being the absolute worst. Ashley, what would you give this episode? Homecoming.
I think there are a lot of really good ideas in this episode, and I think for the most part, they're not as well executed as they could be. They're not all terrible and falling apart at the seams, but there's more bad than good. So I'm going to give it 2. It's not the worst episode.
Kind of low. Okay.
Yeah, it's not the worst episode of Supergirl I've seen, but it's not the best either.
I am going to give it a 3. This is not a terrible episode of Supergirl. It's not a really good episode of Supergirl either. For every good thing they did, like with Dean Cain and Helen Slater and stuff like that, and Cyborg Superman and The Bridge, they did a lot of inconsistent stuff like making Alex act out of character, having Mon-El prove that he's a dick.
Well, that's not out of character, but...
yeah, but they did stuff like that the entire episode. So, like, for everything that I was like, yay, immediately I was like, what? So, yeah. I think it's staunchly in the middle. Not one of my favorites of the season, but no, by far not the worst.
Okay, our combined rating is 2.5, which is exactly halfway.
Cool. All right, let's move into our predictions based on this episode. What do you think is going to happen to Supergirl?
I think that by the end of this season, we are going to see Dean Cain finally do away with Hank Henshaw, whatever that means, whether that's actually killing him, deactivating him, putting him in stasis.
You think he becomes a good guy, Dean Cain?
I think he becomes a good guy because he does say to Alex, I've done all this for you, even though it doesn't make any sense. And I think that the final act, because he's paired up with Henshaw, is going to be him having to do away with him to protect Alex. And I think his better side will win out.
I see.
What do you think is coming down the pipe for Supergirl?
I think we are going to see a fight between Mon-El and Dean Cain, Jeremiah Danvers. They will fight in the season finale. Mon-El will be in his full classic costume so that we can see Mon-El fighting Superman.
Yeah.
And this is how Mon-El gets trapped in the Phantom Zone. They will both get trapped in the Phantom Zone because that way Kara will lose her dad again and also her love. Very loose love.
Boyfriend.
That's my prediction. That will happen in the because we will end the Dean Cain storyline with ending the Cadmus storyline.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I think is going to happen. All right, cool. So let's move very briefly into The Flash.
The Flash, Season 3, Episode 14, Attack on Central City. Grodd and his army bring their battle to Earth 1, which the team must find a way to stop.
All right, so as you know, we do a review of The Flash in a separate video because The Flash is so complicated, so many multiversal things. You can click that up on the card right up there. But real quickly, I want to bring up something that we missed in a review. We were generally very positive on part 2 of the Gorilla City two-parter. In one of the scenes in The Flash, we see the Flash of Earth 19. Now, if you know the Multiversity, the Grant Morrison storyline, Earth 19 is, how would you describe it? Like a Victorian kind of...
Pseudo-steampunky. Yeah, Victorian.
Now, we haven't seen very much of Earth 19. We've only seen like 2 scenes there.
Yes.
We see this Flash character in there. Now, in our video, we didn't know who that was. We did a little bit more research. We found out that he's actually a DC Comics character.
Yes.
He is the Accelerated Man, but he's only been seen in the Multiversity so far. So in our review, I said that I didn't think we would ever see this guy again. I kind of think we're going to see him again now. I really do, because he's a DC Comics character. That is a very specific reference that they didn't have to make.
That's true.
So I think the fact that they did make it, and they did make him look like the comic books, I do think we see the Accelerated Man further on in the season.
He's probably also there trying to save Iris in the finale.
Of the multi-flashes that are going to be there.
Every Flash is going to be there.
So as we said, go check that out over there, and then we're going to move right into shooting a target at Arrow.
Arrow Season 5, Episode 15, Fighting Fire with Fire. When Vigilante attacks Oliver while he's acting as mayor, Diggle leads the team on a mission to stop Vigilante for good.
All right, first we're going to talk about the good, but then we're going to go to the bad, the rating, the prediction. You know a thing. And stick around for after Arrow because we're going to go through some of your comments from last week's video. Let's talk about the good.
Yes.
Right off the top. Right off the top. T-Spheres, baby!
Finally!
We got T-Spheres in Arrow. They move, they light up, there's a great explanation for them, and the best part of all, my fellow Collider Arrow, former Collider Arrow co-host right now, Michael Medina, is screaming after tonight's Arrow episode because he's always wanted T-Spheres. But he activates them, and they purr like a cat, which I really liked.
Yeah, they have a sound,
They're
a
like,
distinct sound to them. Although not good for stealth and reconnaissance, I have to say.
Yeah, they have that giant
Is that what
beam
you
of
think
light.
a cat sounds like?
And also we get the reference, don't call them balls. But
I thought that reference was in really poor taste. I
actually thought it was a funny recurring joke. I don't think we'll ever hear it again.
I actually thought it was funnier that Renee makes the rude joke and then apologizes for it, and he's like, "Oh, is that too far?"
Mm-hmm.
And Curtis is like, "Yeah, a little bit too far, but you recognize that, and I like that about you." Like their burgeoning friendship brings me so much joy.
What else did you like from this episode?
I liked that we got Daddy Diggle back anytime.
I was going to bring that up too.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Anytime that Diggle gets to be... He's like the Alfred of this universe. Anytime he gets to be the
Don't
heart...
demote him that far.
No, I mean that. I mean that as the utmost compliment. He gets to be... He's the heart of the team, and he gets to dispense emotional advice to everyone else. And when he gets to do that and then turn around by the end of the episode and be a badass, like that is a prime Diggle moment. And he has a lot of really
An Earth Prime Diggle moment.
Yeah, that is a lot of heartfelt moments talking to Felicity and some of the other crew as well. I just thought Diggle was so great. This is more of this Diggle, please.
I had it in my notes that I especially loved Felicity and Diggle talking around his computers, which I again felt like I was like, oh, I feel like these are scenes that we haven't seen since season 2.
1, yeah.
I was gonna say season 2, but like him and Felicity just kind of like working out stuff. Being friends. Like, I feel like they've complicated their storylines in, like, season 3 and season 4. And it's nice to see them be like, oh, they actually like each other. And they ask each other for advice, like real friends do.
And they share a unique bond that no other character in the show shares because they've been with Oliver from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about some of the awesome action that was in this episode also. There was a big fight in the middle. Only had one costume character in it. Oliver's in his limo. The limo gets tossed into the air. By the way,
that must have been an expensive stunt.
Real limo. That was a real stunt. They really actually tossed a limo in the sky.
Yeah.
And then Vigilante shows up. Starts firing at people. The new Black Canary zaps him with her power.
She gets a great moment,
Yep, she gets a really great moment. And then I love Oliver standing there being like, you want me? Come at me! Like, it's very interesting to see these moments where Mayor Oliver like eventually just gets kind of pissed and like lets his guard down and is like, I don't care.
And to his credit, he does like clear everyone out of the way.
Yep.
Like Thea goes off and Lance goes off and like
Thea
the
even
driver,
fights the Vigilante, which I appreciate.
Yeah, she does for about a minute. The driver's taken care of, and then Oliver gets that awesome moment.
What else did you like?
I liked seeing Dinah in her role as like, I think she's part of... She's part of his security detail?
she is part of the mayor's security detail.
Yes.
Which would be the police.
Of course. But I liked seeing how she was going to fit into his corporate life as well as his vigilante life.
You mean the scene like where she walked in the office and she was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be in here.
I shouldn't be in here, right? And then like that's a great moment. She didn't have a ton to do in this episode, but I really like her character, and I think they fit her in more seamlessly than
previous
most of the recruits.
Yeah.
So it's just really nice having her around in a way that makes sense, because including characters in a way that doesn't make sense becomes really contrived after a while.
They brought a character back in this episode that I want to talk about that I really missed. I actually forgot about her. Dr. Schwartz, the doctor who knows Oliver's identity, who helped treat the Black Canary.
The Leslie Tompkins of this universe.
I was just going to say that. If you know Batman history, you know that there is a doctor called Dr. Leslie Tompkins who knows Bruce, old family friend, and it's kind of like Batman's doctor. I appreciate Dr. Schwartz. I kind of wish we could see her more often.
I wish she would show up like every 5 episodes or so. Yeah.
Like I said, I completely forgot about her, but then when she showed up, I was like, oh my God, it's her. Like, yes, more of you.
Yeah.
So I really like that. All right. Let's get into the big thing of the episode. So we see a scene where Vigilante's on the roof. Prometheus attacks Vigilante. Then Prometheus pushes Vigilante off the roof, and we see Prometheus take off his mask. And it's Adrian Chase. Prometheus' identity is now revealed. Adrian Chase, who everybody thought was the vigilante in the comic books. Yeah. Adrian Chase is the vigilante. Adrian Chase in this universe, not the vigilante, Prometheus.
Fun fact, when we started watching this episode, Jason said, I really like Adrian Chase, and I'm glad that he's in this episode.
Yep. Little did I know he would betray me. Like the 4th season of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. You know what I'm talking about. Final scene.
Oh my God, you're going to kill me.
Lois leaves a baby on a doorstep.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, the final scene of...
That's horrible!
No, they find a baby on the doorstep.
Oh, I thought she left their baby
I
on
said,
the doorstep.
Strike it, reverse it. Back to Prometheus. See what you're doing to us, Prometheus? Okay, what did you think of this reveal? Because, real quick, I did not see that coming.
I don't think anyone did, because I'm pretty sure the voice of Prometheus is the actor who plays Adrian Chase doing his growly voice.
No. You mean the voice of Vigilante?
I'm sorry. Yes,
is the actor that plays Prometheus.
I think the misdirection was too much. Mm-hmm. I mean, to their credit, it wasn't the obvious choice.
But I will flip devil's advocate. It worked.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
It totally worked.
I'm just kind of pissed off that I don't know who Vigilante is.
I know, who is Vigilante now?
I don't know, like Roy Harper.
That's the big mystery.
He's not tall enough.
Who's Vigilante? Screw Prometheus.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I was completely surprised about it. I'm glad that it's somebody we know. The interesting thing about is that because they've waited 16 episodes.
Yeah.
16 episodes? Or 15?
15 episodes.
Since they've waited 15 episodes, we now know Adrian Chase enough that when it's revealed that it's Adrian Chase, it's actually a good thing. If they had revealed that it was Adrian Chase in like
episode 5
or episode 3, we'd have been like, who cares?
I guess I'm just more confused, even if he'd been Vigilante, about like, what did Oliver do to wrong him? I know they have all these...
Killed his daddy.
I mean, I guess.
He killed his daddy. Look, this week's CW DCTV is all about daddy issues.
They're real bro-y, considering he hates him that much. Like, Adrian Chase is like the world's greatest actor.
It's just like any comic book villain. You get real close to them, you go on several golfing trips, and then you kill them.
Look, I read Flash Rebirth, and I know what August does to get in there.
Don't spoil that.
But I'm not spoiling it. That just...
Don't spoil that like I spoiled the last scene of the Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman.
Season 4, was that the last season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank God. Okay.
But yeah, Adrian Chase is a great reveal for Prometheus. I wonder if they're going to not tell us who Vigilante is?
I think they have to now.
They don't have to do anything,
apparently.
No.
I think either in the next episode, in the next 2 to 3 episodes, we're gonna see Vigilante with this mask off, simply for the fact that that's what everybody's gonna be saying now is who is Vigilante?
Right, because we expected that reveal because Dinah got her hands on a piece of his weird Spock goggles, and then Adrian took it away from her. But if they can get that out of evidence, they should be able to track who got it.
Yeah. Okay. I really like the scene where Oliver was coming out in the press conference and you find out that Vigilante was across the way and wanting to shoot Oliver, and the team tracking down the Vigilante during the press conference. And I really liked Oliver being like, yo, attack the Green Arrow, which came off very much like The Dark Knight.
It was so The Dark Knight.
Where it was like, Michael Caine was like, you have to take it. Endure, Master Wayne. Batman can take it. The Green Arrow, Oliver, can take it.
No, you got to do it as Lance.
Oh. He's our silent protector. He's a Green Knight. He wears a hood. I'm still up in arms about Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. That's what really gets my sticks in a bundle.
You think, what does that even mean?
It's an expression for Star City.
Is it though?
Yeah, it is. I don't know. All right, here we go. All right, so what else do you like from this episode? Let's not get down to Lois and Clark, New Adventures of Superman. We have opened a Pandora's box. And by the way, Pandora is the program that Felicity uses to hack. So we're back on topic.
Also a DC Comics character.
Yeah, don't talk about it.
I would just want to circle back really quick to the team taking down Vigilante inside his clock tower thing. I don't know.
He was in a warehouse across the street.
Yeah, clock tower.
From City Hall.
I like that we finally get to see these characters, these recruits, being good at their job.
The T-Spheres worked.
Which was great, and then we saw that again later on.
Yeah.
Because they've been, like, not great for so long that it's really rewarding to see these characters that have stuck it out, who haven't kind of run away or become evil, actually get to be good at being vigilantes.
Well, can I use your scene to jump a little bit ahead?
Please.
I had it as my next note. I really liked the moment where they were all gathered and Oliver came down and he was like, "Thank you for saving my life."
Oh, the pep talk?
5 months ago, I thought you were pathetic. That's a subtext. But you saved...
I wish he said that.
You saved my life. Mm-hmm. I really thought that was a good moment, and I was like, yes, this is great, because we got about... so this is episode 15. We know they do 23 episodes, so we have about 8 more episodes to go. So we're going to see 8 episodes with the team being really strong against this one guy.
Yay!
Should be a really good batch of episodes.
Yes, it should.
Let's talk about... let's talk a little bit about Adrian Chase grabbing the reporter. Okay, now I like that scene.
Oh, I forgot about
the very end. He grabs the reporter, he grabs Oliver's girlfriend.
I don't like Susan, so I pretty much erase her from my
I don't like her either, but I like it because it's going to create this damsel in distress, and I think it's going to create a scene that's going to lead into my prediction that's coming in later.
It's a big power play for him.
Yeah.
He's finally coming out against
Anything
Oliver.
else from this episode you really liked?
No, I think we hit it all.
All right, cool. Let's move into the bad. My bad list is very short for this episode.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Thea
right.
was really bad this episode.
Well, she was my bad list. Yeah.
Thea's been pretty bad this entire season.
Yes.
She's been relegated to a limited number of episodes for reasons that I don't know, because I don't work on the show.
We talked quite a bit about it last week too.
Right. She's not good when she's not Speedy. She offers nothing to the show, and this episode she proved that kind of like Mon-El, she's an asshole. Mm-hmm. And her leaving is probably, I don't know if this is her leaving forever, if this is a Roy Harper thing, or if this is her just leaving for the season, but her leaving is the best thing that could happen for that character on the show because Thea has outlived her usefulness. And I'm so sorry to say that because I loved her as Speedy.
I wrote a note in here that her wanting to blackmail everybody in this episode, she wanted to blackmail somebody in this episode, she wanted to blackmail somebody in last episode. Yeah, it kind of leaves the audience with no doubt that you're just like, oh, you're just a terrible person now.
And they try to equate it to her bloodlust from when they brought her back to life.
Which is a ridiculous comparison.
I thought it was a really weak comparison they were just like, we have to roll this all together now, so blah.
I kind of hope Thea leaves the show because I agree with you.
Yeah.
She was great as Speedy, and she's just been floundering ever since then. Because
what they should have done with her if she wasn't going to be Speedy is they should have made her more like Moira. In a more advisory role.
Maybe she creates a charity.
Yeah, or like
for
the
victims
Queen Foundation.
For victims of the uprising.
But she can't fill that role, and she's not.
Nope.
So there's no room for her anymore.
What else? Anything else?
Yes, other things. I did not like the Mr. Terrific subplot where his husband was calling him Paul, Mr. Terrific, as I like to call him.
Ooh, I like that.
Wanted them to have dinner, and Curtis thinks they're going to get back together, but Curtis still shows up like an hour late, only to be served with divorce papers. And I think that in a show that deals so much with people with complicated emotions and bad relationships and poor coping skills, torpedoing one of the only functioning relationships that you have, and then one of the only functioning LGBT relationships that you have in the entirety of your DCTV universe is a bad choice.
Well, I will just devil's advocate here.
Yeah. It's just my opinion.
No, it's fine. I just want to devil's advocate, just
please.
to make you think of it in a different way. The relationship was actually torpedoed like 8 episodes ago.
Yes, but now it is like there is no coming back from it. Yes,
yeah.
You are right. You're definitely right. I also like Mr. Terrific. I think he's cute, so I'm sad to see him go. And this is, I fear that this is going to put Curtis in the kind of downward spiral that we've seen Cisco on The Flash.
Oh, okay, got it.
And he's such a great upbeat guy who just had this big breakthrough, and it would just
I think he'll get through it. He's terrific.
I hope so. Maybe Renee will be his new boyfriend. Who knows?
Ooh.
There you go. Let me know in the comments.
Anything else?
I didn't like having Susan back, and she just continued to whine for this whole episode. But hopefully now that they've repaired her like reputation, things got better. But I think her character's done too. She served her usefulness. Mm-hmm. Once she gets rescued, I need her to be off the show because, like Thea, I think she's just run her course and she's kind of just being annoying. She only serves, kind of like Alex in the last episode, to complicate things for Oliver where he doesn't need additional complications, which is too bad because Felicity already does that and she's gonna go be a hacker now. So all the women get nothing good to do this episode.
let's put a pin in all the bad. My final bad is, because I didn't have that many bads, was that the restaurant that Mr. Terrific and his husband, Mr. Terrific, rented was actually Jitters from Central City, the Jitters Coffee House.
With some new tables and some curtains.
And the only reason why I'm bringing this up, and the reason why it's in my bad, is because I didn't mind it. I thought they actually did a really good job redressing it. Is because a lot of people in the comments complained about us bringing up the set that we noticed when they reuse sets and stuff like that. And I just want to say, we work in film production, and okay, let's move on into the rating. Based on a scale of 1 to 5 arrows, 5 being the best. Ashley, what would you give this episode? Fighting fire with fire. A lot of Fs.
Yes. We like alliteration here on Arrow. So I had definitely more bads in this episode than you did, but I think this was a really, really good episode of Arrow. I think we've been on a great streak lately.
Oh, God, yeah.
Arrow is my favorite of the DCTV shows, so I'm really hoping that we can keep this upward momentum going, so I'm going to give it 4.
Nice. Really well done.
Yeah,
cool.
How about you?
I think this Arrow episode delivers everything that we want in an Arrow episode. It gives you action. It gives you a nice little twist. Everybody gets a nice little piece to do. There's a nice little mystery. There's drama. And then also, Oliver is just not obsessed with being Green Arrow. And the flashbacks were good as well, too.
Yes,
even though
they were.
There were only like 3 scenes of the flashbacks. That's the reason why we didn't bring them up. But the flashbacks were great, too. This is a 5 episode of Arrow. This episode was solid. The reveal was amazing. And yeah, Arrow has been on a great streak right now. And man, I hope we can keep it solid to the end, because it has been fun. All right, so let's go right into our predictions. Based on this episode, Ashley, what do you think is coming in the future of Arrow?
Well, I think that we are finally going to get the Vigilante reveal probably next episode.
Yep.
If not, then in the next 3 episodes. And I predict that Vigilante is going to pull off his mask, and we're going to learn that even though it has been a man in that costume, you can tell by the body shape that it is actually Talia al Ghul underneath.
Oh, you think Talia al Ghul's going to be Vigilante?
I do. I think that is why she might show up in the modern day.
Why do you think she tried to kill Oliver?
Well, Oliver's killed and hurt people in her family.
Oh.
And basically ruined the power structure that was set up in the League of...
Well, he destroyed the League of Assassins.
I can never remember if it's League of Assassins or League of Shadows.
League of Shadows is from Batman.
I know.
Yeah.
Either that or it's going to be something more Nyssa-centric. But
the
yeah,
League
I think...
of Shadows? Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that it's going to be Nyssa, and I'm really looking forward to that reveal.
You mean Talia?
Yep, Talia.
Not Nyssa.
They're sisters.
Yep.
What do you want?
Cool.
What do you think is going to come up for Arrow?
I think that Prometheus kidnapping the reporter seals the deal that Oliver Queen's identity is going to go in the public. I think the reporter, Prometheus stealing the reporter means that Prometheus, because he's going to see it as his final act, that he's like, because he doesn't care about his life.
Yeah.
So he's going to tell this reporter everything, give her the best story of her life, and just like Lois Lane, it is a story that is too good to not be reported. And so the reporter's going to report it, and now everyone will know Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow, thus making Oliver Queen have to immediately resign as mayor, because we've now decided that the Green Arrow is a murderer again, and we have to arrest him. We cannot have that guy be mayor. He will be hunted by the police. Oliver will end this season not being mayor, identity in the public, running from the police. Season 5 of Arrow will end. Ready for this? The Green Arrow is in the exact same position he was in episode 1. He is an enemy of the police, and he's killing people, and he's all alone.
I can't wait for the beginning of season 6 to be undoing that by Roy Harper returning in the costume.
Or season 6 is like,
Barry will reset the timeline.
I have a new list. I've been adding names for 5 years.
Adrian Chase.
But no, I think we're gonna take Arrow back to the point. Because I think we're gonna have a nice circle with it.
Maybe he goes back to Lian Yu.
But the difference is that his identity is now in the public.
Cool.
So there you go. All right, guys, we're gonna look at some of your comments from last week, and we're gonna comment on them. We're gonna comment on your comments. Let's do it right now. YOLO Swaggin said, "New crazy theory: Maxwell Lord is Prometheus. Either that, or he must be dead." Well, we know that you're completely wrong now. Sorry, man. David J.C. is talking about last week's Legends of Tomorrow. If nothing else, the fight between Ray and Damian in the snow was seriously beautiful. I'm a sucker for snow in general, but I found it to be very nice regardless of my snow love. But yeah, Ray should have been dead there. I think we both agreed that Ray should have got his butt killed.
Kicked. Yeah.
Killed.
I will agree with the snow love. It was real snow. It is often not real snow. And for a show that shoots in Canada, and as a Canadian, I have a deal with real snow. And it
You have a deal with them? Like they give you money? Real snow gives you
no,
money
like
sometimes?
I gotta hang up about when people use fake snow because it never looks right. And real snow brings a beautiful starkness, especially to a combat scene.
Sure. Yeah. I think you guys need to get a room of snow. The Danny Deathstroke says, I have a theory for Supergirl. When Supergirl and Mon-El meet the Legion of Superheroes, Supergirl and Brainiac 5 will end up being Supergirl's relationship endgame. Well, I don't know quite what he means there besides, like, Brainiac 5 will basically kibosh the relationship, which I agree with. Is that what you think he thinks?
I hope so. I think that's what that comment implies. Brainiac 5 is traditionally Supergirl's love interest in the Legion, and she pretty much gets a new boyfriend every 6 episodes anyway, and we're about due for one.
And there's plenty of Legionnaires. Josh Clayton says, anything is possible because of comic book logic. Yes, you're glorping right.
Very true.
Black Nerd Jr. said, thank you so much for using my comment. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. You're welcome. We use this one too.
You're the best.
Have you seen Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman? Seriously, don't watch it.
I really hope that somebody out there photoshops like a DVD cover of The New Adventures of Lois and Clark season 4, with just a quote that says, have you seen The New Adventures of Lois and Clark, ... seriously don't watch it, -- Jason Inman.
All right, you have just created, by the way, a new contest for DCTV Recap. I want somebody to take, and I'll give you the challenge, I want somebody to take one of the DVD covers to any season of Lois and Clark, and I want you to, I'm going to give you a picture right now. Are you ready for this? All right, this is the picture. Photoshop me onto that cover with the quote, seriously, please, nobody watch this, Jason Inman. If you do that, I have a prize over here for you. If you do that, hold on a second.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm going to give you one of these. It is Batman Rebirth #1.
Ooh.
It is the regular cover, and I'm going to send you Batman Rebirth, this Hastings exclusive cover by Tyler Kirkham. So, somebody take that image that you just had from me in the video and send it to us on Twitter at Jawiin, at Jawiin, or at Ashley V. Robinson on Twitter. And, let us know that I want to see that. I'm very excited for these. It'll make me like my friend Scott Mance. I'll be very excited. But we're going to send you these two, the best one, and we're going to show them off next week. So go down to the comments, and maybe we'll read your comment next week. And also, while you're down there, don't forget to click the like button, because that really helps the video get seen by more people on YouTube.
And why not click on one of the videos on the screen there full of geeky goodness that we know you are going to love.
All right, guys, hope you enjoy the DCTV recap. We enjoyed doing it, and we'll see you next week.